Good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode 223 of the Focus TV. And that number it weighs a lot. Like it just sounds heavy. 223. Either way, welcome back. We're happy to be here tonight. We got Xavier White, Raymond Lyons, Cardinal Dudley Jr., and Wilson Tarpey Jr. And look, let's get to it. We got a lot to get through tonight. For you NFL heads, look, week one's coming. Octavia's going to get to that as it pertains to NFC East. We just had the first weekend of college football. Keith is going to touch on that in the Pac-12 segment. Ray's going to let you know what's going on with the Mystics who take on the Storm tonight, and he's going to give you a little bit of background on that because it could be interesting, due to how the standings and what they've been going through. Cardell back in the gym, so you got to love that. Zone 24 Varsity Showcase going to give you guys some kids that stood out from that event. Quick update on DC United. They were off last week, courtesy of the international break. But Octavia, NFC East, week one's finally here. What you got for us?
I just felt like it took forever. Like I just been ready for the regular season to start like yesterday. So the fact that we're 2 days out, I'm super hyped, super excited for the season to start. And what's crazy is the season starts with your very own NFC East team. The Dallas Cowboys will be taking on the defending champions of the NFL in the world, I guess. They call them world champions, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So that will be the very first game of the season this week. It'll be Thursday night, 8:20 NBC. And there are just a couple of things I'm looking forward to. So I'm just going to share a couple of things I'm looking forward to in these 4 NFC East games that we have this week. In this game, I'm really, really, really hyped. I really want to see how Dak is going to look. It's been over 1,000 days since he's played football back, when the ankle injury happened back in week 5 of last season. He has not gotten any preseason games. They had with them and the Steelers having 4, everybody else getting 3 this year since they played in the Hall of Fame game. Him not being able to play in any of the preseason games, also due to that shoulder injury that we know he's going through as well. They took him off a pitch count. They say he looks good in practice, but again, you never know until you get on the field. Get under the bright lights, playing against the champions. Thursday night, open up the season. It's going to be a good game, and I'm so excited to see. I want to see how he comes out there and plays. But one big thing that they'll also be missing, I know that we've been talking about Dak and his injuries and how he may not be ready to go. But on the other side of that, we have Zach Martin, who's not injured but is in the COVID protocols currently. There was some talks that if he was able to get a couple of negative tests in, that he may be able to suit up, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to do so. And that's a big issue for them, as we know, outside of the defense that they had last year, which was probably the biggest challenge for them. The offensive line also was a little bit injury prone, to say the least, for them. And Zach Martin was one of those players who had a couple of injuries, and they never were able to have a sustained offensive line throughout the season. We know that Zeke also struggled due to that, and he's even come out and said that most of the times he's running behind big Zach Martin. So Zach Martin not being there for them in this opening game is going to show a little bit of struggles for them. I'm interested to see how they overcome that. To see, we've been looking at Zeke. We've been seeing how, he's gotten leaner. They say he's back to his college weight and on the same plan that he was then. Is he going to be the Zeke of what we used to see? We know he had an off year last year, but it's going to be tough for him without Zach there and getting through those holes and them opening up positions for them. I'm also really, really interested to see how Michael Parsons does. He no longer has to complain or beg for playing time at this point. I'm sure they're going to keep him on the field as much as possible. His first NFL game, I'm just excited to see how he does. It's just a lot of things, of course. The biggest thing that I also want to see is how is the defense going to react? They went out, got Dan Quinn. We know that the defense was the big issue for them last year. On the offensive side of the ball, they are pretty good on paper. But we've seen it in real life too. CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, Zeke, Dak, nothing to sneeze at. These are going to be good players. They have one of the best wide receiving cores in the league, in my opinion, probably top 3. But I'm interested to see how CD produces after a full off season. We know last year he was his rookie year, but we know that everybody didn't get a good off season with COVID. So I'm interested to see how he comes into this, and is he going to be good? Hopefully he is, because he's on my fantasy team. Another game that's going to be happening this week in the NFC East, we have the Philadelphia Eagles will be taking on the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday at 1 o'clock on Fox. Biggest things, of course, my team, I'm looking at everything. But for the casual fan, my biggest thing is to see how Jalen Hurts comes out being the official QB1, starting straight from the beginning of the season. We know he had those 4 starts last year. Is he going to be the franchise quarterback? Everybody in the organization seems to think so. There's been rumblings that a lot of players really, really have bought into how he is as a leader. But is that going to translate into the field and into the game? I'm interested to see how, of course, his connection with Devontae Smith is going to be his opening game as an NFL player, and how well he's going to do, especially because they didn't get much work in the preseason in game time action. Yes, they had a lot of practice, I'm sure, in practices, scrimmages, everything that they did in the offseason. But again, there's nothing like being on the field. I want to see if the other Jalen is going to be able to take off in year 2, because a lot of people, including myself, was a little bit agitated just because you saw what Justin Jefferson did for the Minnesota Vikings, and we skipped over him for Jalen. He's had a lot of flashes in camp. He's looked good, and I want to see that actually happen in the game. So I'm really interested to see in how these all these kind of translates into each other, especially coming up to a new wide receiving group. Really, last year there were a lot of injuries, so a lot of practice squad people that you probably never heard of had to step up. But now we kind of got a whole new core. Travis Fulgham, who was a big name last year, coming off the practice squad, he's back on the practice squad this year. In the running back slot, Miles Sanders had an off year, a lot of injuries last year as well. I'm interested to see how he bounces back. And then, the big surprise for me was that Jordan Howard got, cut, but he's on the practice squad as well. And now Boston Scott is the legit number 2. I have my qualms about it. I'm hoping that he proves me wrong. But I hope he doesn't get too comfortable, because behind him is Kenneth Gainwell. Although he's a rookie, he's looked good in the preseason as well. And who knows, he can have a breakout year and be very, very underrated. So just a lot of things. Of course, on the defensive side of the ball, I'm looking at our secondary. Rodney McLeod coming back from an injury. Darius Slay had an off year last year. We have Ant Harris this year. Steven Nelson from the Steelers. So brand new secondary that we have a lot of room for improvement on. So I'll be watching them. And then last but not least, our offensive line. Jason Peters is gone. He has been a staple in that left tackle position for years and years and years. He's currently in Chicago, but his biggest issue was staying healthy. So we had a lot of injuries on the offensive line last year outside of the center, Jason Kelce. So I'm interested to see if everybody's going to be able to stay healthy, keep the same people starting, playing together every week, and just see how the season goes. Next up, we'll have the Washington football team is going to be taking on the LA Chargers. Biggest things I'm looking forward to is Fitzmagic. Is he going to be able to bring that magic to the Washington, D.C. area? We saw what he's done pretty much everywhere else he's been. Is he going to be that guy? Is it too late for him to be a franchise quarterback? A lot of people think so, but a lot of people see what he's able to do every time he gets in a good position. So I'm interested to see how that works out for him. The one thing that I have to see, of course, is Chase Young. A lot of people are already putting out a lot of rumblings that he could be defensive player of the year. We know how good he is. It's, with this game, are the Chargers going to be able to protect Justin Herbert from Chase Young? Because we all know how dominant he was last year, and I'm sure it's gotten nothing but better this year. So I'm interested to see how newcomers work into the system. Curtis Samuel didn't really play a lot in the preseason, if at all, if I recall, with an injury. And then, just seeing how it works out. Their defense is what is really a lot of people are talking about for the Washington football team, but I'm interested to see how the offense keeps up. Are they just going to be able to keep up and the defense is going to be able to, be the momentum for them for the whole year? Right now it looks as though, but can't forget Antonio Gibson. Is he going to continue to trend upward? He's the number one running back for them now. Of course, they have Terry McLaurin, who is the number one wide receiver for them as well. And then you have Logan Thomas, their tight end. So they have really, really good skill positions. I just really want to see it all work together and play out well for them. Just not when they play my team, but you know what I mean. Last but not least, we'll have the Giants. They'll be taking on the Broncos this week. Biggest storyline, of course, Saquon Barkley. He's inching closer and closer. It was reported yesterday that he's been fully cleared to have contact now. He'll have his first padded practice tomorrow. If everything works out well, he has no setbacks. They suspect that he will be good for game 1. But of course, he'll have a lighter workload, coming off of an ACL injury. I'm interested to see how well he bounces back. We know how of a monster runner he was in his first couple of years. I just want to see if he was able to retain that. I think he is. I feel like once you get to a certain level of physicality, like a lot of them attack that rehab really, really well. So I really don't think he'll have a drop off. But again, I can't wait to see it. Will the offensive line be able to protect Daniel Jones, keep him upright? Will Daniel Jones be able to keep himself upright and be able to throw the ball to the correct people, which is the people on his team? We know that his issue is turnovers. So is he going to be the guy this year? It's kind of boom or bust at this time. His third year, is he going to be their franchise quarterback? If not, maybe they'll be starting over. And then last but not least, Evan Ingram. My issue with him is always that he's injured. He's been injured. This was his first off season when he wasn't nursing an injury. He was able to attack the off season 100%, but now he has a calf injury. And with Kyle Rudolph now coming off of injury, it's even more important for Kyle to then step up if Evan is going to be out. So it's going to be difficult. I'm just ready to see who's going to do what. There's so many other teams I can't wait to talk about because I'm just excited that football's back. So that's all I got. But next week, we'll have the recaps of every game, and we'll see if the NFC East goes 0-4 or 1-3 or what happens, because we all know it's possible.
But I'm already looking to week 2 for a matchup in the NFC East. But we'll say that for a couple of weeks, man. Definitely looking forward to it. Possibly, or I'll just be sad the following week. We'll see what happens in a couple Tuesdays. Football, as we mentioned, was played college, that is. Keith with the latest on the Pac-12. After that, we'll have our first break. And when we get back from that, I'm going to talk to Ray about the Mystics and what lies ahead of them as we really get like the closing stretch of the season is like here. We've been talking about it. They're there now. So we'll see what happens and what Ray has to share for you guys.
Welcome back. I'm Keith Archer here again from the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism at Arizona State, and today I'll be covering the past Pac-12 games, and we've got quite a few of them, so let's get right into it. Arizona State defeats Southern Utah 41-14. Jaden Daniels didn't look too good in his first performance this year. He started out slow. He had an interception that was overruled and turned into an incompletion. He was pulled late in the third due to a cramping injury, and I think just due to the opponent. He wasn't thrown back out there. If it was a tougher game, I do believe he would be put back out there. The rushing upside was there, though. He's so agile when he runs, and he creates stuff for the running back that most quarterbacks don't. Rashad White and DeMonte Traynham proved to be a ongoing duo who will torture some defenses this year. They combined for four touchdowns total. And then Arizona State's defense, they were okay. They struggled early, but Darian Butler led the way with 2 interceptions, and they go to face UNLV next week and hope to capitalize on some things that they weren't able to. On to Utah versus Weber State. Utah defeats Weber State 40-17. That game was one-sided since the beginning. Charlie Brewer came back with 2 touchdowns and 233 passing yards. Tavion Thomas dominated the ground with 170 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. The junior tight end Dalton Kincaid hauled in 4 receptions for 75 yards and 2 touchdowns. And at the tight end position, that is quite special. Now we've got Northern Colorado versus Colorado. It was a heavy rushing attack by Colorado, which says a bit about the quarterback. But, you can never really truly understand what goes on behind the scenes. But when you've got 4 combined total rushing touchdowns and their running back, Jarek Broussard, just falling short of 100 rushing yards with 94, it was a heavy rushing game for them. Stanford falls short to Kansas State by a good amount, 7-24. Deuce Vaughn dominated the ground with 124 rushing yards and a touchdown. Defense reeled in 2 interceptions to slow Stanford down. So it was a slower game for Stanford. Well, although it was the first game, it was still a very slow game for them. And it started. You can see somewhat of a trend here between some of these games, and it's that due to it being the first game, they didn't really release the quarterback as much as they could have. I guess quarterbacks are a delicate position in the Pac-12, and that they've hesitated to just open the playbook right away, and that, using dual running backs is a trend, and having all of these guys instead of just, going straight in. And I mean, it's a good way to go about it, but eventually going down the line into the season, you're going to have to pass the ball if you want to win games, and you're going to have to extend that playbook if you want to beat the top-ranked teams in the nation. Now, going on to Oregon versus Fresno State, Mel Kiper's highest-rated defender, Kayvon Thibodeau, exit the game early due to an injury, but that didn't stop Oregon from coming out with the win, even though it was a close game. Oregon didn't dominate as most people would have guessed they had. C.J. Riddell and Travis Dye posed as a decent running back duo. They had two touchdowns combined. Riddell had 1 and Dye had 1. Riddell ran for 74 yards and Dye ran for 64. And then USC versus San Jose was dominated from the beginning. Keon Slavis, like I've been telling you guys, he just continued to show me what I thought was already true. He dominated on the passing game with 256 yards and 2 touchdowns in the win. And then, like I told you guys from the beginning, Drake London dominated with his height, 137 yards. His height with his after-the-catch ability is something that draft scouts and NFL teams are going to drool over, because that's just something that doesn't come around. First-round prospect Drake London also reeled in an interception on a screenplay, which is not something you see too often. But why this is so much of a focus is because he's more of an edge guy, and the way he played the screen was he was coming off the edge. His awareness allowed him to realize, okay, this is a screenplay, let me back off. And once he backed off was when he got the interception. It was such a beautiful thing to see. Back onto Purdue and Oregon State. Jake Plummer, the quarterback for Purdue, had a nice day with 313 and 2 touchdowns. 2 wide receivers went over 100 yards. David Bell, 8 catches, 134 yards. And then Payne Durham went 7 catches, 120 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So a pretty decent day for the Purdue receivers. They're going right into it, opening the playbook, unlike some other teams. Montana upsets 20th ranked Washington 13-7. Now, Washington was ranked 20th, and they lost to Montana. That is a big loss, which is going to create them to fall pretty decently in the ranks, and it may even cause them to fall out of the ranks. So we just have to see where that goes. Washington quarterback Dylan Moore struggled with 3 interceptions. So as you can see, that took a big toll on why the game was only 13-7. Washington's defense played a huge role in this win. UCLA upsetted 16th ranked LSU. Now, if you were looking at the headlines before the game, you saw that Coach Ed Ogeron called a UCLA fan, Sissy Blue, and for them to dominate as much as they did, UCLA made a t-shirt out of it. And they have a Sissy Blue t-shirt now because they defeated UCLA and no one expected them to. And I don't see LSU being as dominant as they were in past years. I see a decline for them coming this year. So, and that's just not off the UCLA game. It's just they don't look like a team who is going to dominate like what they did when Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Justin Jefferson were here. That team is not there anymore. DTR bounced back in the game. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, for those who don't know, He struggled in his first game with making some passes, but he came back with 260 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. But the 260 yards and 3 touchdowns is really what you want to focus on with him, because in the first game he wasn't able to make certain passes, so it's nice that he was able to bounce back. Greg Dulcich, 4 catches, 132 yards, and a touchdown. So UCLA dominated them with the ease. So I don't see LSU being as good as they were. I think that 16th ranked will get pulled from them quite fast, and they will eventually be down there with the unranked teams. They'll win some games, but not where they were ranked, not at all. Nevada defeated California 22-17. Carson Strong, quarterback for Nevada, begins his draft campaign with 312 yards and 2 touchdowns. Look for him to scream up draft boards. He will impress quite a few people this year just based off of his poise in the pocket and his ability to move around and then lay the ball where it needs to be. BYU, despite losing Zach Wilson in the NFL draft, defeats Arizona 24-16. Gunnar Cruz, quarterback for Arizona, looked decent in the loss, 336 passing yards with a touchdown and interceptions. Arizona was getting dominated in the beginning, but they started to come back, but they fell just short. But it's okay. It's always about, now, even if you lose in some games, there's a win in all losses. You have to focus on the fact that what did they do right when they were on the comeback. They've got to focus on that and capitalize on that coming forward. And Utah State defeated Washington State in a close win. Devin Thompson's 8 catches, 94 yards, and a touchdown. And that was a game that came down to the wire. But don't look for both of those teams to have a decent season and to upset a few teams sooner or later. And a quarterback that I want to keep on everyone's radar this year, he will scream up draft boards now. He's not on a higher ranked team, but this guy is definitely a kid who you will see scream up draft boards and who may even land himself in the top 10 is Malik Willis, quarterback out of Liberty. This guy is a Lamar Jackson clone. He's exactly what Lamar is, and he passes much better than Lamar did, and he lays the ball where it needs to be. So keep that guy on your radar. This is Keith Archer, and it was nice talking to you guys again.
Welcome back to the Focus TV. Many thanks to Keith for knocking that out. Yeah, Malik Willis is definitely somebody. If you guys don't know, some of his work was on social media this past weekend. You're doing your thing if you're making noise at Liberty playing football. Ray, the Mystics, what do you have?
Yeah, man, the uphill climb continues. We're coming down, 5 games left in the season. Mystics, of course, no secret they've been struggling. They are 2-7 since they've come back from Olympic break. But the only thing that's keeping them alive is the teams around them are losing as well. So they still have a fighting chance. Right now they're in 9th place. With the win tonight, they could move into 8th. They're playing Seattle at 10 o'clock tonight. Of course, Seattle's one of the best teams in the league. They're sitting at 4th right now. They've been struggling a little bit as of late as well. They're 4-6 in their last 10. So, this could be one where the Mystics could sneak one in. But they've just been having issues with depth and injuries, and we saw that kind of come to a head in their last game against Minnesota. They were down big. They made a huge rally in the 3rd quarter, but when the starters needed some rest, things fell apart rather quickly, and Minnesota just kind of coasted to a win. At this point, they're just running on fumes, and they can't get any continuity because they can't get people on the court for for long stretches. And then when they're getting people back, they remain on minutes restrictions. So yeah, man, we really just haven't seen this team hold the entire season. But we're here now, so they gotta play the hand they're dealt. But yeah, man, it's going to be tough for them. this situation isn't going away. They got to fight through it. People, it's gut check time, to be honest, because like I said, the injuries and the depth situations is here. So people got to realize they're going to need to step up, and fill in and play some big minutes. It's not the easiest thing to do, but they're professionals for a reason. So yeah, man, they got to come into this game with the mentality that they're fighting for their life right now, which they are. It's just going to be tough. Seattle, you know what you got to deal with there. You got Breonna Stewart, Sue Bird, Drew Lloyd. They're a tough team, man. They won a Commissioner's Cup. They're looking to make another push and defend their title. So it's truly the dog days, and the schedule doesn't get any easier from here on out for the Mystics. So they basically got to keep winning, in order to if they plan on making a postseason, and I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see Elena back for the rest of the year. I know the game they took her out, they said it was just a precautionary thing, but I mean, at this point, you just got to be as safe as possible with the type of injury that she has, and yeah, I get it. Of course, she wants to play. Of course, they want her out there, but it's just not worth the risk, to be perfectly honest, man. They got a lot to look forward to next season. And just getting people healthy, and they can come back with the team they were planning to have. They'll be getting Alicia Clark back, so they'll look completely different than they did this year. So it's been a rough road, man. And Coach T-Bolt, he said numerous times this is one of the most stressful years he's had coaching. And coming from him with a guy with his experience, he has to be going through a lot for him to be that vocal and outspoken about it. But yeah, man, he doesn't temper his expectations at all. I mean, the standard's been set from 2019, and that's just what they have to live up to. So the pressure's there, but you just got to fight through it, and we'll see what they have tonight, and we'll catch you guys after the game on Mystics Outlook.
Yes, we definitely will. Cardell, I know you're at the Zone 24 Varsity Showcase this weekend. Who stood out to you?
Yeah, I had the pleasure of attending the Zone 24 Varsity Showcase, which was held at Hood College in Fresno, Maryland. It featured a lot of underrated high school players. It wasn't your typical, D1 jam fest of a showcase. You know what I mean? It was a bunch of guys that you would probably see more than likely at the D2, D3 level, JUCO, NAIA level to start. Obviously they could develop at those levels, and the D1s will come calling, but it wasn't that type of showcase. There was a lot of underrated prospects from the Frederick, Maryland area. I want to go out there and just see what those guys had to offer. Just real quick, Zone 24 is cold by Art Claymon, who's also the director of Maryland Movement AAU, and overseas player Steve Custis. So a couple of brothers doing their thing out there trying to help develop the players in that area. So, not doing a good job where they don't necessarily have to always come an hour plus down here to the DMV to seek training or whatnot. They can get quality training out there, come down here and compete, and then do what they're supposed to do. And also shout out to Elon Bush for taking care of me. It was a well organized and well ran event. There were some players that stood above the rest on the showcase, and I'm gonna get started with my personal MVP of the showcase, Jordan Green. He plays at St. Maria Goretti, 6'5" forward and senior in the class of 2022. Athletic, super athletic. He had a 40-inch vertical, which was the highest they did combine testing, so that's how I know he tested with a 40-inch vertical, which was the highest at the showcase. He's a workhorse big who plays a lot bigger than what he is. If you watch him play on film, you may have thought that he was around 6'9", 6'10", but he's actually 6'5". He dunks everything inside. He's capable of knocking down 15-footers at a high enough rate to keep defenders honest. He ran the floor well, which is key for bigs. Transitioning back on defense, transitioning back on offense. He set good screens, grab a good amount of rebounds above the rim over multiple opponents. And obviously, last but not least, he's a good versatile defender and shot blocker. He's a bit raw offensively, especially out on the perimeter currently. He has to be set up by guards to score at a high rate outside of posting up or popping out for jumpers after setting the screens. But yet still, I expect him in the senior year to be a double-double machine. And, the expectation for Green, for me, I can easily see countless D2 programs, the CIAA, fighting for his commitment throughout the season, man. He will fit right in with that conference because the type of ability he has is a number of teams with guys like that, you know what I mean? To kind of bring it home, think of Kenneth Fareed, just shorter. That's his game. You know what I mean? The guy that used to play for the Nuggets, for those that may not know. So, he was talented, man. I like what I saw. Keep improving, hey, who knows? He might be able to sneak into get a D1 scholarship. You just got to improve those perimeter skills, the ball skills. BC Owens, out of Glendale High School, 6'3" guard, same 2022 class of seeing. Another athletic player who impacts the game on both ends and plays bigger than what he is, but he's a guard, a true guard. Owens is a bouncy, explosive combo guard who is lethal slashing to the basket and in the open court. He finished with either hand, looking to dunk first. He's a solid passer, an excellent rebounder for his size, a good defender with the potential of being an elite defender at either guard spot, and is a streaky shooter from mid-range. Becoming more efficient, shooting the ball and extending his range out to at least the college range would be huge to unlocking his full potential. I feel like out of everybody, he has a shot at being one of those kids where whatever level he start at, D2, D3, or maybe a low major, like his potential, they bring him in. I can see him developing in a couple years to be a high impact player, and then the high majors will try to swoop in and take him out. He's that talented. He just hasn't put it all together yet. Jason Johnson, point guard, St. Maria Goretti. He's a junior, 2023 class, 5'7" point guard, true floor general. He's super tough, very competitive. Despite his 5'7" frame, he's a blur in the open court. He is like TJ Ford, not as big as TJ Ford, and he's a tenacious defender when he locks in. Has all the prerequisite little guard ways to score at the basket, runners, floaters, ball fakes, up and unders, and is a decent shooter from all over the floor. But he's a point guard that consistently looks to make players better, which in this area is a plus. Keep an eye on him being a rising junior. Desmond K. Nicholson, out of St. John's Catholic Prep, another 6'3" guard in the class of 2022. He was probably, if not the best, definitely up there as one of the more skilled players at the showcase. He isn't the athlete that Owens is, but he has the all-around skill, IQ, and feel to make up for it. He's deceptively quick with his first step. He's good at changing speeds off the bounce to keep defenders off balance to either score or find teammates. For him, it's getting stronger. He weighs 159 pounds. You know what I mean? He's a senior. He got a year to get ready for whatever college level swoops in and offers whatever he feels if he don't go prep or whatever. He definitely has to get stronger either way. That would be the key to him unlocking his game more, where he can go to a high or low post, make plays, defend bigger guards, and hold his own. And last but not least, Daniel Luna. He's out of Winter Park High School by way of Florida. 6'1" point guard, 2022. Winter Park sounds familiar. I believe that's where Austin Rivers played at when he was in high school. Luna has flair in his game with the purpose that I like. He's fearless despite his small stature, 6'1". Another lightweight at 147 pounds. He has to hit the weight room too. If he wants any shot at playing college basketball, it's a requirement. You're not gonna last long. Either you're gonna get injured or you're gonna get thrown around. Guys are too strong. He's a good athlete with a 37-inch vertical, and he definitely uses it when he attacks the basket, taking contact and scoring inside. He's shifty off the bounce. He can score from all three levels as well as be a good facilitator. I want to see him get after a bit more defensively, be a bit more sound on that end. How it is, just because you're small don't mean you can't throw your body around, be a pest on that end. Honestly, matter of fact, the smaller you are, there's a bigger need for you to be a pest defensively if you want to stay on the floor. I believe if he brings it on that end more and impacts that game, and impacts the end of the floor more consistently, it'll take his game to a whole new level.
All right, we're going to follow that up with our second break. And when we return from our second break, Cardell put together some nice clips and let you guys check that out. And after that, update you guys on DC United. We'll look at the time. We might have some time for rapid fire. We're going to see what we have left. But again, we're going to go into our second break. You're watching the Focus TV Zone 24 Varsity Showcase highlights are coming up after the second break. See you guys on the other side. Welcome back to the Focus TV. Hope you guys enjoyed those highlights from the Zone 24 Varsity Showcase. All right, quick update on DC United. Said last week they were international break. The Black and Red are in 7th place right now with a record of 9-10-3. 30 total points in the standings. They're currently 1 point behind Montreal, 2 behind Philadelphia, and 4 behind 4th place New York City FC. They're back in action this week. They hit the road to take on the New York Red Bulls. The desired result of 3 points would certainly help in the standings. Prior to this break, Coach Lasada mentioned that Bill Meade was ready to come back prior to the last game, but couldn't due to COVID protocols. So it's a good chance we'll see Bill back in the net for DC United this weekend, which I'm sure would be a wonderful boost of morale for the group. And the group's done a great job this year. We're dealing with a ton of injuries this year, just staying mentally tough. The cliche of next man up, they've really embodied that most of the year. But as we said, similar to the Washington Mystics, they control their destiny. So, it's literally down the home stretch. We'll see how they handle it. As of right now, they're above the magic line. It's up to them to keep their spot, and if not, rise a little bit higher in the standings. So I'll check back in with you guys next Tuesday to let you know how they did. Cardell, I know we got some time for rapid fire. So what you got for us, sir?
We're going to start off with one that caused a little bit of waves today. Soon-to-be Hall of Famer Paul Pierce talked about his exit from ESPN in the interview with Sports Illustrated. At the video of his IG Live with him and friends having a very good time, went viral. In the interview, he talked about the aftermath. Pierce on the video, I'm sorry for what? Come on, I didn't do anything illegal. These MFs in the Hall of Fame, some did cocaine, effing battery. What the F did I do? I was having a good time. All the people coming after me, half you mother do the same ish. You're just hiding it. And you all are married while you're doing it. I'm divorced, I'm retired, and I'm having fun. Pierce on being let go by ESPN. I was done with them anyway. It wasn't a great fit. There's a lot of stuff over there that you can't say, and you have to talk about LeBron all the time. Just what are your thoughts on his comments? What's up with you out there?
I mean, one thing Paul Pierce gonna do is he gonna keep it 100. He gonna really tell you how he feel about some things, and I think he's right. He probably wasn't a good fit for ESPN for that situation specifically. I liked him on the show with him and Maria and Jalen and whoever else they decided to put on the show at that time. But at the same time, I hope he doesn't think he's going to get back in the industry. I feel like he's kind of severed those ties. Because, at the same time, I get it. You want to be yourself and you want to keep it 100 and you want to do whatever you want to do. But there's still professionalism. There's still etiquette. And I'm sure they have contracts. When you're that famous and you're on that big of a network, I'm sure they have some type of morality clause where, you can only do but so much. Because, your parent company is Disney. Let's keep it a buck. So I get both sides of it, but he's living his life. Like he said, he didn't do anything illegal or anything, that could get him arrested or anything like that. But you got to know your audience and you got to know your employer. It's like when we talk about free speech. You have free speech to say whatever you want to say, but don't forget that those come with consequences. And I get it. We get tired. I speak for myself. I get tired of talking about LeBron too, bro. So I get it, but I don't know if that's something you just want to come out and just tell the whole world. But, some things I feel like are better left unsaid. But again, this is Paul Pierce, who is obviously going to tell his entire feelings.
Right.
Yeah. Shoot, I guess my man. He just wanted to spill the beans. In regards to the video, like Octavia said, I'm sure they had some type of morality clause or there was some language in his contract that, I pretty much think he knew what he was doing by live streaming that. It's no way he thought that wasn't going to come with consequences. But if he was done like he said he was, then I guess that was his way of getting him to get rid of him. But in regards to the video, yeah, he's right. He didn't do anything illegal, but don't understand what the dry snitching is about. Why you got to bring up other people's stuff, man? Like just
Like, did you not learn from Nick Young and D'Angelo?
Just stick to yourself, player. Like there's no need in bringing up other people's business. But yeah, and in regards to the ESPN thing, I mean, I think we've shared this sentiment before. Like the way that the route that sports media is taking is just nothing feels authentic anymore. I'm pretty sure there are things that you're not going to be allowed to say on the air. And yeah, if you're going to work for ESPN, be prepared to talk about LeBron. That's just what it is. So if he didn't want to do that anymore and that was his way out, then, what have you. I can't. If that's what he wanted to do, then more power to you. I'm sure he's okay financially. Like, so just go ahead and live your life, dude. He's going into the Hall of Fame. Like, what? Yeah, I don't. But yeah, I just found it weird that he threw other people's quote unquote transgressions into his defense of what he decided to do. Like that was just kind of weird to me.
Wilson.
Yeah, Paul Pierce is gonna be Paul Pierce. Like Octavia said, I'm not really shocked by any of it. The LeBron ESPN stuff, I don't think anybody needed Paul Pierce to tell us that. Rinse, wash, repeat, the same 3 topics every day. We're in the middle of a pretty good playoffs, and all we heard was what someone was doing in their offseason. So, yeah, I'm not too shocked. Right. Waste no time. Quick with it, too. Shout out to Robbie. Yeah, man, I'm just not shocked. And he knew what he was doing, like Ray said. It's the quickest way to go home. He'll be fine. So, you got it, Curtis.
Yeah, I think he's too real to plot his exit. I think if he wanted to roll, he would just be like, I'm out. I think that's who he is, man. We need more people like him that tell the real. You know what I mean? It's just, Ray kind of touched on it. I feel like the media overall have become cowards. They kiss too many people's ass just to, I guess, keep a certain type of connection, a certain type of network where they, I guess, appear relevant or whatnot. And let's face it, most people don't even know the inside of the sport that they're covering. There's personalities now, man, and it's that's what pays. The hot take culture. Just say any wild stuff, get traction, get eyes, do anything you need to do to get eyes, and you're gonna get you valuable to them. So. Look, man, Paul Pierce a legend. He's about to be a Hall of Famer in a few days. Hell, if he was that pressed to be in media still, he could start his own thing, honestly, and people would tune in because of what he done on the court and his matter of factness, how truthful and honest he is, man. He knows what he's talking about. You know what I mean? So, obviously, with the situation on IG Live, like Octavia said, you got to have some professionalism. Seeing these days, people seem to be throwing professionalism, integrity, all that stuff out the window at a moment's notice, man. You gotta have that. I think he just jammed himself up like what Rachel Nichols did, man. Not really understanding that. Once it's out there, it's out there. Anything on the net, once it's out there, it's out there. You can't really, it's never really deleted. So he just jammed himself up, being an OG, and just not being in his right mind. Obviously, a little liquored up, a little high. You know what I'm saying? So, right mind. That's why he deleted with the quickness, but it's too late. So, but no, he technically he's right about everything, but you can't just do what you want to do all the time, man. Especially when you work for somebody. If you want to do that, do your own thing, man. You know what I'm saying? And can't nobody fault you. It's just a matter of choice. Next one. Oh boy, we gotta touch on this one. The WNBA honored its past and present when it announced the league's top 25 players Sunday. The top 25 were Simone Augustus, Sue Bird, Swin Cash, Tamika Catchings, Tina Charles, Cynthia Cooper, Deladon, Sylvia Fowles, Yolanda Griffith, Brittany Griner, Becky Hammond, Lauren Jackson, Lisa Leslie, Angel McCautry, Maya Moore, Nneka Ogwumike, Candace Parker, Tisha Penichero, Kathy Pondexter, Katie Smith, Brianna Stewart, Cheryl Swoops, Diana Taurasi, Tina Thompson, and Lindsay Whalen. To be considered for the group, players must have played at least 2 seasons and met 4 to 7 criteria. Won a major individual award, selected to either the All-WNBA First Team or All-WNBA Second Team, selected to either the WNBA All-Defensive First Team or WNBA All-Defensive Second Team, selected to the WNBA All-Star Game, a member of the WNBA Championship Team, currently ranked among the top 40 career leaders in at least one major statistical category, and or a recipient of the WNBA's season-long Community Assist Award. Just what are your thoughts on the player's name, who were left out, who should have waited their term, who will not? Let's start with you, Ray.
I'm not a fan of these type of lists because, somebody's going to get left out that should have been included. And then instead of the people owning up and saying, we screwed this one up, they're going to try to do some type of gymnastics to justify why they chose what they chose. I don't see a universe where Rebecca Brunson and Dawn Staley are not on that list. That's a mistake. No disrespect to the ladies that did make the list. Those 25 names are all great players, but I mean, you got a 5-time champion and arguably the best point guard to ever play women's basketball left out. So, yeah, man, that's tough for me. You gotta call it something else. Don't call it top 25 because it's not the top 25. That's just being as blunt as I can, and it happens every time something like this is done. I'm sure we're going to see some nonsense with this 75th NBA anniversary coming up. With I guess they're going to do the next 25 or what have you. So yeah, man, I don't know, man. I don't see how as many eyes had to look at that thing and not have those 2 ladies. And I'm sure if I think hard enough, I can come up with some other names that should have been on. And then you just go ahead and put that out, like Teresa Weatherspoon. Yeah, man. Like, and you just put the list out like everything is cool, and don't even like find another way to acknowledge the people you left off. Like I can't rock with it, man. Like they gotta just stop doing it, honestly, because you're not going to get it right because, you got Palms degrees or you owe somebody favors or what have you. And again, not saying nothing against the ladies that made it, nothing against them. They're all magnificent players, but this was a mistake, man. They left off some people that should have been on.
Wilson.
Like Ray said, we're going to probably be back in a couple weeks when they put this new men's list up there with 25 new names. I saw how they kind of tried to make a little bit of wiggle room with the criteria with like the top 25, and it was like most influential and stuff like that too. Regardless of whatever it was, the assignment was not completed, and it's just kind of one of those things where like, if we're only doing 25 because the league been around so long, there shouldn't be that many now names on that list, technically. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're going to do it right. But again, it's their list, something they got to deal with. Hopefully in the future, if they try to add to it, they kind of choose a little bit better in terms of who's in the room with the selecting. Because the ball was dropped. They had a huge opportunity with this being the 25th year. And like Ray said, nothing against the ladies that are on the list. Can't be mad at y'all. Y'all didn't pick yourselves. It is what it is. But, if you're going to sit down and do something like this, it needs to be done take a little bit more time and do it. Because now you have this thing with this. The list came out. and all you have is like, just take your time and go for it. To me, it was opportunity missed with the way that this came out because of the things that Ray listed.
I'll tell you.
I mean, I definitely agree with both of y'all. I hate these things. I hate top lists, and then I hate it when it's trying to be accumulative of the entire time period. So like you said, like over the course of the full 25 years, trying to essentially like put it all into like one little box about this and that. Like I hate these type of lists because they're always subjective, and it's always going to be somebody's opinion. I get they try to use these criterias, but why are we using criteria? Like it's just a lot. And just listening, like you said, listening to the list and just thinking about certain people that were left off, like it's hard to then think of this as the list. Like you're telling me like Teresa Weatherspoon, like growing up, like you talk about influential people, she was one of them, so I don't understand how she's not on the list, and like you said, I'm sure if we went deeper into it and looked at everybody, because this is also, like Wilson said, something that should have really, really been researched a lot. I would be interested to see how long it took them to put this list together. Because I don't know, like it feels like it was just kind of like fly by night, like, okay, this person, let's just put this list out here. But again, like I'm sure no matter what list ever comes out, nobody's ever going to be 100% happy with it regardless. So that's probably the biggest reason why I hate stuff like this, because it's just causing a stir up and hoopla for opinions and, people to just talk about stuff when, it's not really facts. And I just don't like this type of stuff, but just those couple of names that we named just not being on there just is unfathomable to me. I just feel like we're always in the era of now. So a lot of those things that, whenever we're doing these type of lists, they're looking more so at the people of now, as opposed to really looking, the people that paved the way, the people that made the league what it was. So it's a little disheartening, but I try not to read too deep into these type of lists.
Yeah. For me, obviously, we saw a lot of plea copping, people trying to cop pleas on social media once people came at them. And my thing is, who voted? It seemed like it's only like certain people that get votes, on certain networks or whatnot. Like I know for a fact, I think me and Wilson came in covering the Mystics at the same time, like 2013, 2014. We knocked on 10 years. I seen reporters that had votes. I know for damn sure wasn't covering the leagues as long as us. And this is where you need people who's been around women's basketball going all the way back to when it first started in 97 or whatnot to have these type of votes, because especially youngest today, they ride waves and excitement way too much for me, man. They don't have no sense of logic and just the sense to just be objective and calm down. It's not the greatest of all time. Every damn week, every time a great performance happens, it's just not that. And sometimes, and then obviously know the game, know what you're looking at. Most don't. You feel what I'm saying? And it's just like Rebecca Runs. I think she's the all-time leader in rebounds. That shit warrant, if you do number one in any category, you should be on that list. And it's the here now. And I know what people say, well, who should you take over? With all due respect, I can name two names, man. Like, no disrespect. I love what Becky Hammond did, but she better than the Dawn and Teresa. Angel, I love Angel. She's been banged up the last few years, man. She's great. But is she on that list now over Rebecca? 4 rings and what she did? No, I mean, you can't say that. And that's being, and you know what I'm saying? They both from the area. So it ain't no bias whatsoever. I'm just going on resume and impact and production and what you did. That's what should be looked at. And it's too much of that, man. It's just everything is about now and all that. And what makes it worse is you have all the resources in the world to get your lazy ass on your phone, computer, and go back, do your research and see what the hell was going on. But it's too much ass kissing in the media. That's what it is. You got kiss ass to get a quote. You feel like they're your friend and all that, man. Look. They're not your friend, man. Like they not, though. It's just y'all cool. I tell you, y'all talking the post game and all that. Y'all not being invited to weddings and like baby shot. Like, no, y'all not cool like that, man. Get over yourself, dog. Understand what it is, man. You know what I'm saying? Be professional when y'all interacting and all that. Keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? And there's no disrespect to Hammond and Angel. They're tough, man. But there's no way Dawn and Teresa and Rebecca and Bronson and Lobo, there's no reason why those four, just off the top of my head, shouldn't be on that list, man. It makes no sense, man. It's just, and you know, and we can sit up here, and I know I'll tell you, say it's about subjective, man. Some things are just clear as day. It's fact. You know what I'm saying? Don't tell me, not you, I'm just speaking in general. Don't tell me Vince Carter was just a great dunker for his time. No, the man had dunks, and he did crazy shit his whole goddamn life. Like, since he was hooping, man. He's the greatest basketball, the greatest dunker we've ever seen. It's just clear. So if you know anything about the game, it's just some things are just clear, man, and it's just it needs to stop, man. You know, like and even the leagues, they got to do a better job of allowing more wide range of media to be included in these things, because like people, it should be a criteria for you to even vote on that. You know what I'm saying? And it shouldn't just be because you vote because you work for a certain network. How long have you been covering the sport? You know what I'm saying? What is your history in the sport? You feel what I'm saying? Like, I guess now if I get hired by ESPN to go cover hockey, should I get a vote on whatever, list they have? And I don't follow hockey, man. But they would make me vote because I work at ESPN. That's what we have. So,
better pick your favorite.
I'm about to say you definitely gonna have a vote.
Definitely.
You definitely gonna have a vote.
They could just be like,
Put out my top 25
that one.
bad man players list.
Not bad man. Stop it.
It'd be Wayne Gretzky, and then
Ovi. Gotta do Ovi. Stop it.
With the other man that played for the Caps, Adam Oates.
Hey, dog, come on, dog.
Ain't somebody named Crosby? Put him in there.
It's not that hard.
Oh man,
think about it. It's 25, right? So it's gonna be a 30th anniversary. Angel and them could have been on that one. And I'm not just.
And that's
a lot of these that one.
And that's where I'm at with it. What?
Community assistant. Well, what the they got to do with the court? Because you helping your community. I mean, that's great and all, but that has nothing to do with what you're doing on the court. Like what? Go ahead, Wilson.
And see, and then
like I was going to say, like, nah, go ahead.
The thing that's going to piss me off is, so when they make the 30th anniversary, it's not like they're going to bend the corner and get the people they miss this time. Those people going to be forgotten, and they going to add new people like more recent.
That's good. People like that.
Look. Look, I want to thank y'all for.
Be here all night.
Nope. Oh boy, Cardell, you're not right with that one, because I could definitely see some people voting for it off early. That's the sad part. Like that's the I can.
Oh man,
I want to thank y'all for hanging. Oh man, but seriously, like I can see it. I can definitely see it. I want to thank you guys for hanging with us tonight. As always, we'll be back next week, same time. For Mystics folks, we'll be around later tonight for Mystics Outlet later this week as well. Don't forget get over to DC TV, watch the show Friday nights 10 p.m. Wednesday mornings 9 a.m. on Roku, and then don't forget to get over to FocusTV.com. Really simple. Keep up with us in all those different places. I tell you, he's going to have some week 1 NFL stuff for you next week, which should be fun because people are going to go nuts because everything's going to be the best and the worst of everything in week 1 by next week.
We go to the Super Bowl. That's somebody going to say that.
Everybody. There's at least 12 teams going to the Super Bowl next week. Guaranteed.
Everybody goes to the
That's what's happening next week. But y'all have a good night, man. We'll see y'all soon.